The Go-Gos limped along on the punk circuit until they hired driven drummer Gina Schock.
They were rehearsing a couple times a month, and I was like, guys, we got to rehearse like, 4 or 5 days a week if you want to make this happen.
It changed their sound incredibly. She was an amazing drummer, and it just added such a new dimension. It added dynamics and punch.
The band's sound improved, so much so that their friend Ginger Canzoneri was now volunteering to act as their manager.
I had such faith in the band. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it was, but there was some essence there that I just felt seemed so special.
One step beyond.
In December '79, the Go-Gos were asked to open for Madness in L.A. Impressed, the British ska band invited the girls to open for them on a tour of the UK. The Go-Gos were ecstatic. Then they got off the plane.
We're over there like living on £2.50 a day, stealing milk off people's porches in the morning and drinking cough syrup to get high because we couldn't afford beer.
Going hungry was tough, but the gigs were torture.
They were skinhead audience. They hated us. I'd be dodging bottles that would get whizzing past my head all night. Poor Belinda, she'd walk off stage every night with just spit was just hanging, all over her.
We were constantly being gobbed at and yelled at and abused, and it was scary.
After 3 months of torment, the girls returned home to Southern California.
I remember coming home from England and we just felt like a bunch of whipped puppies or something.
Next, the Go-Gos get a makeover.
The idea of being what we really were, which was guzzling, foul-mouthed, anything for a good time girls. I don't think people wanted that from us.
And later, Charlotte begins a dance with the devil.
I remember the moment I tried heroin for the first time, I thought to myself, this is the way I want to feel for the rest of my life.
When Behind the Music continues. In the summer of 1980, the Go-Gos returned from a 3-month tour of England, declaring it a fantastic success. In reality, it was a spit-drenched fiasco.
It was a very difficult trip, and it wasn't how we told everyone it was. We totally lied. Yeah, we're famous now.
But the trip hadn't been a total loss. Back in England, the girls had cut a single called We Got the Beat. The song was more pop than punk, and it quickly became a favorite on the LA dance scene.
I remember playing the Starwood, and there were lines wrapped around the block, so obviously something was going on.
The place was buzzing. People were excited, and they went on, and it was like, wow, they're going to do it. They're going to make it.
As mainstream success became a real possibility, the girls grew impatient with bassist Margot Olivaria. Her angry antics once gave the band punk credibility, but were now seen as a pop liability.
She would always lose her purse, and she would get up on stage and be like, "Who the hell stole my purse? You better give it back. I'm gonna kick your ass." I mean, very Courtney Love, right?
I was just being who I was and had been, and maybe they were just becoming a little more, aware of being in a public eye and presenting an image.
She didn't want the band to become a pop band, and I mean, we are what we are. We had the opportunity to go on and become successful, and I wasn't, at that point, I don't think I was doing it just for fun. I wanted to be a big success.
By the end of 1980, the girls had had it with Margot, but they left the dirty work to their manager, Ginger Canzoneri.
I had to make the call because the girls were spineless.
She said, "You're out of the band." I was really, crushed and angry. Of course, I was angry,
Devastated, Margot left to pursue her punk passions in New York. But the Go-Gos didn't miss a beat, hiring hard-rocking bassist Kathy Valentine.
She brought songs into our repertoire that we could never have written on our own. And I remember she had a lot of intrigue about her. She knew a lot of like famous people and stuff. And we were still like these little gutter rats, like trying to act like stars.
But even Kathy's connections couldn't get the band a record deal. We Got the Beat was a top 40 single, but music execs still weren't interested.
Nobody wanted to sign us. Like, we can't sign you. You are girls. Okay.
Then, after months of rejections, the girls caught a break when executives from fledgling label IRS Records came calling.
I just looked at this and said, these are 5 girls, very engaging, a lot of energy, drive to succeed, which is the biggest secret. They really wanted to make it.
They didn't play very well, is the truth, from a musical standpoint, but they had such an energy, such an excitement, and they had hooks. They had huge hooks in these songs, and they were really, really fun songs.
The girls signed a deal with IRS and set out to make their debut album on a shoestring budget, cutting corners everywhere they could. They couldn't even afford the wardrobe for the LP's cover shot.
They went and got towels. I told the girls strict instructions not to get them dirty because I had to return them to Macy's. So someone somewhere bought some towels that were worn on the cover of the Go-Gos package.
The package included an image makeover that would portray the raunchy Go-Gos as girls next door.
I mean, we were like twisted, crazy, drug addict, sex fiends, you know, but we were cute and bubbly too, and that's what people responded to.
The idea of being what we really were, which was guzzling, foul-mouthed, anything for a good time girls, I don't think people wanted that from us.
It was like, well, if that's going to help sell records, whatever, you know? I mean, whatever works.
Publicly, the girls played it nice, but it was Jane's naughty affair with a British rocker that would inspire their breakthrough hit.
He was engaged to marry this other girl, and he came to LA to play, and he saw me perform, and, you know, sparks flew.
After only a few passionate nights, Jane's lover returned to England, but the two continued a transatlantic tryst through the mail.
And he's writing me all these tormented love letters, and in one of the letters he sent some lyrics, so I finished writing the song. I remember being in my bedroom in my mom and dad's house with my guitar and singing it down into the cassette player. Doesn't matter what you say, in the jealous games people play.
In the studio, the song called Our Lips Are Sealed was given a pop polish. It was chosen to be the first single off the Go-Gos' debut album, Beauty and the Beat. The Go-Gos drummed up interest in the record with a national club tour, and by year's end, Beauty and the Beat was in the top 30. Then, IRS Records founder Miles Copeland had a brainstorm. The up-and-coming Go-Gos would join an arena tour with his hottest act, The Police.
The first response was, we're sort of stars now, we should be doing our own shows. I said, no, wait a minute. The Police are going to be playing to 30,000 people a night. You're going to headline playing to 3,000 people a night. If you go on with The Police, you're going to open up all sorts of doors, and we'll really take this someplace.
Earning their rock and roll badges as part of the Police lineup, the Go-Gos broke out. On March 6, 1982, Beauty and the Beat became the #1 album in America, beginning a run of 6 weeks at the top of the charts.
Within 9 months, it had sold millions of copies. We had a Grammy nomination. It was #1. It was so intense and insane, we didn't know which way to turn.